see, ain't that neat? Away and call it. Hey, you have reached us on a Monday night. Sorry about the tardiness. It is a little bit after 8 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. Facebook, YouTube Live. Welcome to the Dialogue with Dozie. So glad to have you with us this afternoon. Glad to be back with you live again. Total shout out to the Go Giga team, making up for me being on the road a week or two and working things out. But we're here with you, and we're live tonight, and we got a dynamite show for you tonight. Let me just tell you what we're talking about. We're dealing with several ongoing issues that are still going on. We do have a segment called This Week in Orange Madness. We'll talk about that. We got a special guest on this last week that celebrates Second Chance Month. We call it Another Chance Month. And then we're gonna look back at things and remind you why you have to vote. Then we're gonna look at some things that have passed to help remind us and have a little exercise to go along with it. We're going to honor one of our stars who left us 10 years ago. You know who I'm talking about, his purpleness. And then we got some good gems in sports. We got NBA playoffs, baseball, some teams off to a great start. And we got a nice little fun exit video. Join us tonight, Dialogue with Dozie. So glad you're here. Listen, let's do this first. Let's dedicate the night show to Mr. Robert Tebow. Mr. Tebow exited on last week. He left this world and went to face his master. And Robert Tebow is the father of our very, very beloved Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow, who many thought was the best college football player in history. Tim Tebow is a beloved figure in the state of Florida, especially if you're a fan of that team like I am, then you have a lot of respect for a fine young man. Mr. Tebow had Christian missions, and he dedicated his life to them. In fact, Tim is asking that in lieu of flowers, that and I like the way he said it, if you want to celebrate my father, send a gift to his missionary funds, and I don't have that with me at airtime, and I apologize for that. But Tim Tebow's father was very instrumental in missionary work, and his son was homeschooled and brought up to love his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And Tim never hides that. And you say, okay, why am I talking about Tim as his dad? Is because what you see in Tim is what his father instilled in him, made him a great. He and his wife, Tim's mother, helped to lead him to be a great young man. When he passed on last week of Parkinson, Tim said, some people ask, why is is it hard to see your dad go? And we're so sorry that you lost your dad. And Tim said, oh no, he's not lost. We know where he is. He has gone on to meet the face of Jesus. And so we celebrate his life and the great things he did. Mr. Robert Tebow, a beloved father figure and a beloved man who worked for the good of humanity through the Christian faith around this world. Let's celebrate him, and let's keep the Tebow family lifted up. Okay, I mentioned earlier that Tim Tebow, I mentioned earlier that school. Well, I happened to be in a certain restaurant today. I'm not giving any free advertisements today. I happened to be in a certain restaurant, and this shirt that I'm wearing, I don't know if you can fully see it. It says Florida, and it's a certain color. And one of the waitresses said something to me to the effect of, I hope you feel better. And because I was holding my back, and I said, oh man, he said, I hope your chest feel. I looked at him and said, I hope your chest feel better. I said, no, man, it's my back that's hurting me. I'm going to be all right. He says, no, it's your chest that I'm worried about. Look at it. And I said, "Oh, you got jokes, huh? I guess you must be from that former all-girl school in Tallahassee, huh?" We had a little fun with it. Um, so just starting the show with a little fun. But this isn't funny what we're going to start out talking about today. Well, first, this week's edition of Orange Madness. This week's edition of Orange Madness. Oh boy. And you guys gotta help me, put it in a text. What's the update on the ceasefire, the proposal that Iran has sent the president and the negotiations team earlier today? What's the update on? If you have an update, please share it with me. This morning, uh, Iran had allegedly, because we don't know who the leadership over there. We think we know. We think it's the son of the Ayatollah, but we're not sure because and the president won't say. So allegedly, we'll use those legal terms. Allegedly, there was a peace term that was offered from Iran. It included a ceasefire and it included uh, giving up the Straits of Hormuz to making it free for traveling through again for ships and to help jumpstart get the world's economy back to where it needs to be and that for oil to pass back and forth through there. And there was another term of it that I can't believe it, but the nuclear thing was not a part of the proposal. And that's the reason supposedly why America went to war to disable Iran's nuclear capacities. Well, if you get a chance, please update me. I see you all out there. Update me on that. See if there's been any reaction from Washington or anywhere else on that. I understood that probably would not fit the terms of what America is looking for. If we lost lives to go over there with our number one priority, halting Iran's nuclear capability, then that probably won't be accepted. But give me an update if you would, please. Also, many of us saw what happened on Saturday night. This is going to be more of a commentary. We saw what happened on Saturday night at the correspondence dinner. My brother and I were watching the basketball game. I stepped into the kitchen to get a snack, and he said, "Did you hear that?" And I could hear that was a special report. And surely by now we pretty much all know about it. A man out of California took a train, went to Washington, D.C., stayed in a hotel where the correspondence dinner is held, the annual correspondence dinner was held. And he broke towards, he was armed with the shotgun, allegedly armed with the shotgun and handguns and knives. And he broke through, he was stopped at one of the magometers in an attempt to get into the ballroom where the president was, the vice president, several cabinet members. And the last I saw is that he had written a manifesto where he voiced very much displeasure with the administration and certain cabinet members. He was to be arraigned today. Unfortunately, I've been away from the news cycle. If you have an update on that, please feel free to update me on that also. But I want to give a commentary. We've had all kind of weigh-ins. People have said that possibly it was another hoax indicating that or insinuating that what happened 2 years ago, the alleged assassination attempt was a hoax, and this was another hoax. This is some of the commentary that I'm hearing out there. But this is what I will say. Hello, Mr. What I will say is kudos to the Secret Service because they were on their jobs as far as we know. There was some other security concerns that I'm sure they're going to address, but it was a much better showing of the Secret Service than it was in Ohio 2 years ago. And then kudos to the president. He came out and he, when it was said and done, he addressed the media in the White House about 2 hours after the event. We watched it live, and of course, he's made comments after that, along with some more silly black directed memes like Candace Owens and others. But so far, unless something has happened in the last few hours that I have missed, Our law enforcement has not failed, other than some of the local that allowed him to breach. And we've been looking at the tape over and over. And apparently, one poor guy was running. The would-be assailant was running in, and they were backing away, shooting while they were backing away. Which law enforcement said that's you run to the subject. And so we'll dissect that maybe more next week. But those are some of the highlights of what has happened, and just kudos. And listen, I want to say this: whether politically we stand, this is our favorite president or not, he is the president of the United States, and the office demands respect. Even though it's disrespected by the current occupant, we're going to be amongst those who gives the office respect, and to say that violence is not the answer. I lived through the assassinations of the 60s, Malcolm, Martin, Bobby Kennedy, Jack Kennedy in 1964. Not a pleasant time. We don't want to see, this is the third attempt at this president, and we don't want to see that. Everybody talks about what good will come from it. Nothing good comes from it, I promise you. Okay? You don't know what's on the outside. Know the clown you have as opposed to who you don't know. The clown you don't know. And I just use that term instead of using profanity, because my mama wouldn't let me use profanity. All right. So also this week, today, this day right here, while we're planning for dialogue with Dozie, this governor, somebody has referred to him as Governor de Satan. This governor has been about, and I knew I was going to lose it like this. This governor has been about planning a special session. You've heard me talking about this session, and when I speak of this session, I remind us that the Florida legislature has one official duty, just one. Everything else is subsidiary, just one official duty. That duty is pass a budget. That budget has not been passed yet. We've had our regular session. I was blessed to be a part with Faith in Florida, to be there and see parts of it. That session spent much time on suppressing voters, voter suppression techniques. Now they are in one special session that has one objective. That is to redistrict the state of Florida to favor the Republican Party, and I'll just go ahead and say it, to favor the Republican Party, that would make congressional districts in South Florida, Palm Beach, that are well-known Democratic strongholds, some in Dade, some in Broward County, Henry County, Collier County, areas that have been dependent on being blue counties and voting blue throughout elections. They are redistricting them. And I'm saying they are redistricting. I'm not saying they're proposing. They are redistricting them. There is an amendment of the Florida Constitution which states that you cannot purposely redistrict a district. You cannot do a redistricting for the purpose of political gain that would shut particular ethnic groups out, women, blacks, Hispanics, Latinas, not to Asians, that would not, in that bill, it really spells those things out, or women. Those are spelled out to give one political party an advantage over the other. That is precisely what your outgoing governor is doing. Y'all gonna believe me when I say that votes count, voting counts. Please, y'all, while this session is going on, go online, ascertain your legislature and send him or her an email pleading with them not to vote for this redistricting. We understand what the odds are. It's highly Republican, and this is a Republican governor, and this is at the will of a Republican president, and this is a Republican legislator that acquiesces to what this governor and this president proposes. But please, ma'am, please, sir, go on, take the time to ask them to reconsider their vote and to make sure everybody else votes against the redistricting. of Florida counties and Florida legislative districts to favor one party over another, and knowing that the courts which are stacked by this governor or this Republican governor has stacked the courts, and just like the Supreme Court and most of the courts of the federal courts, they usually vote along. And it's hard for me to say this because courts are supposed to be blind and supposed to be right down the middle, but stacked towards Republicans. And we're asking you to take note of that. Now let's get on to some good stuff. This is the last week of year of the month. Brother. I'm trying to get to it. Work with me. This is the last week of Second Chance Month. You know, I don't call it second chance. Theologically refer to it as another chance month. And so tonight, a sister she's so credentialed. She's going to not like me for this because I'm going to ask her to say, because the institution where she has obtained her formal degrees from are outstanding. Columbia, Harvard, just great places. And you're going to hear her comment on them in just a second. And she's going to come and tell you some of the work she's doing as far as giving people of this world, being a second and another chance agent to many individuals in our society. Without any further, let's bring on Dr. Imani Kynes. Dr. Kynes, how are you today?
Well, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. We do. How are you?
Great. I am fine, Brother Dozie. I'm so delighted to be in your presence and on your show. So thank you for having me. It's an honor. Truly, truly.
We are blessed that you are with us tonight. You're long anticipated. Um, been some being on the road and some things that has just kind of asked us to push it back. But when I went through your book and I looked at your book, I briefed your book and looked at some of your introductory information, I said, we've got to give this sister more time than 15 minutes, one block. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going.
I lost your sound.
Dr. Kaz, would you just introduce yourself, please? Give your educational credentials. I know you're probably too humble for that, but please share all of you. Just give us your basic introductory information.
I am.
Later.
I am too humble for that, but it's okay because I like to be, seen as a role model and something that's possible for young people, especially, or anybody. I remember my mom planting the seed when I was younger that if anyone else has done it, you can do it. And so anything you want to do, kind of reach for it in this lifetime. So my undergraduate school is Mount Holyoke, which is a women's college up in Massachusetts. Is one of, they call it the Seven Sister Schools. It's kind of like the sister Ivy League, whatever. And I had a wonderful, wonderful experience there. I went from there to MIT in Boston, spent 2 years on a master in city planning there. And actually, during that time, I was doing a lot of my research in school systems and education programs. So I spent another year at Harvard in the School of Education at Harvard. And my last degree was some years later from Columbia Teachers College, where I focused on health education and behavioral science. So that's the school piece. For me, one of the most important school pieces is that I was blessed to be able to teach at Morehouse School of Medicine in the Master of Public Health program years later, during the time I was working for the Centers for Disease Control. So that's probably one of my favorite experiences working with the students there.
And Dr. Kynes, you're not only well credentialed, but you are well versed. You served in many factions in many areas, and man, what how awesome that is, and what a blessing that is. If you don't mind, just kind of tell us. We're going to concentrate on the on your latest work that your latest book kind of deals with, but kind of just give us a quick overview of some of the the communities that you serve, and I mean I don't mean the geographical, but the communities as far as behavioral communities and disciplines that you serve through your tenure.
Okay. I worked at the Centers for Disease Control for 22 years. And during that time, I worked in the HIV and AIDS prevention program for 11 years. And I was the director of another program in the Center for Chronic Diseases called Reach 2010 was the name of the program, which stood for Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health. And we funded communities around the country to work on health disparities, to not only track, but to bring in, we funded coalitions that had traditional public health participants, the health departments, the universities, but we also had schools and fire departments and non-traditional community partners. And this program was around the country, which gave me an opportunity to visit with and speak with and support community efforts around the country. So I really, really enjoyed that. And also during my time at CDC, I had a wonderful opportunity to speak at conferences around the globe in Africa, South America, Brazil, in addition to, working on domestic issues here. And that really opened my eyes to the similarities of health challenges and struggles and just the beauty of people around the globe. I mean, so many people just welcomed us, even if they had nothing. You walk into someone's dirt hut or whatever, and they're like, "What do you take? What can I get you to drink or to eat?" And very humbling, very, very humbling meeting with beautiful folks from around the globe. And I should say that even while at CDC and teaching at Morehouse School of Medicine, I always had an interest in natural approaches to health and wellness. So that's a big part of what we're doing now. And like during that time, back in 2002, I think I worked with a good friend of mine, Mr. Gary Ogden, and we started a teen theater program here in Georgia, in the Atlanta metropolitan area called Yes for Health. And Yes for Health, our objective was to train and to educate young people on health issues and have them sort of teach through performance to their peers, kind of be peer educators, teaching about, and they always chose the topic. So we had a big production on diabetes, and which was such a big hit, and another one on HIV prevention and the reasons for delaying sex, and all of it was really about building self-esteem, building pride, building courage in young folks to kind of be on their path and to stand tall and do whatever it is they're doing to serve the community.
Dr. Kynes, you certainly have seen uh, an unfortunate evolution of the CDC, all of the great work that contributors like you did while there. A lot of that, unfortunately, is being reversed by members of this administration and so forth. But I just want the audience to get a clip of your vastness and reaching out. We started the program out tonight by we dedicated the program to Mr. Robert Tebow, who had a worldwide mission and treated God's children to the gospel, but also adhered to their physical and mental needs, spiritual, mental, and physical needs. And everything you have done covers all of these things, and you've done that stateside. We're going to come back and focus in on what you're doing for our communities, our incarcerated community, our returning citizens community. We'll be right back on this last Monday night of Second Chance Month. My guest, Dr. Imani Kynes.
Thank you so much.
Whatever your needs are, I promise you, Go Giga X got them. And they don't just got them, they got them in the most professional of manners. They got them in the most productive of manners. They got them in the best marketed of manners. Go Giga X. Whatever your virtual, whatever your digital needs are, check them out. Go online. What have you got to lose? No, we're not going to even talk in those terms. You got a whole lot to gain. Go Giga X. They do web building too. The team of the Toyas and Kia, they got you just like they got us. Check them out. Go Giga X. Thank you for the kind work you've been doing for us for 5 years now. Okay, so before we get back to our guests, just a couple of things. You saw what we said about what Tallahassee is doing right as we speak. They're in a special session to redistrict this state politically. Please, please, ma'am, please, sir, write your legislature. Look your legislator up and write them right now and complain about what's going on. Let them know that that is not what we need. That is not what we want. That's not the desires of the people of the great state of Florida. And they've already done enough damage. They've spent a whole session killing us and killing democracy. Please stand up against this evil act, and it is an evil act. They're setting this setting us back 50, 60 years. Okay, please do. As a matter of fact, part of our Black History thing, I'm going to ask you to do this, talking about how they're setting us back, how they're attempting to set us back. I want to issue a challenge. Go back, Google the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Google the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and just pull a few tenets of it that mean a whole lot to you. Maybe it's voter registration that was to come the next year, but it led into it. Maybe it was the act that allowed blacks and minorities to cross state lines and do it safely, or to use facilities that open the doors to go in motels and things. You know that, did you? It was up until 1964 that was legal, and it still didn't happen then. There were years after that, but at least legally, the government mandated that hotels and restaurants could not deny people service on the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Look and see which of those tenets, and I want you to put them in the dialogue. Get that, Ms. Dexter. Put them in the dialogue and share with them. We're going to talk about them in the upcoming weeks here on Dialogue with Dozie. I want to celebrate a hero of ours in the music, in the entertainment community. On April the 16th, 2016, some people said that the music died. And I'm sorry, I'm okay. Some people said that the music died. Well, the music will continue on, but certainly we lost the artist, one of the king of, that we could call him the king of adult music, adult pop. Prince Rogers Nelson left us, and we celebrate him. We celebrate what he. Okay, and we celebrate what he has meant to our culture, what he has meant to our communities, and what he has meant to the entertainment industry. Uh, it's what they call the Minneapolis sound because of Prince, and he's born Prince Rogers Nelson, and he died on April the 16th. How many of you all can remember what you were doing when you learned that he had left us? And we have that video. We celebrate Prince, and we celebrate everything that he stood for. We celebrate those things that he did. We celebrate his innovation. We celebrate his innovation. We celebrate his music, his style, his uniqueness. We just celebrate his ability to reinvent himself. We celebrate the fact that he played every instrument. We celebrate the fact that he stood up against the music industry. You know, there were several years on a declining contract with a particular firm that he felt that he was being taken advantage of because of his music. And now that's why people, artists like Jay-Z and others now own their own masters and labels. It was because of Prince, because he stood up. Some of you remember, he wrote "Slave Across His Face." The last few years of his of that contract, finally it was negotiated, and he moved on, and he lived for several years. Listen, 1984, he was part, and we featured that movie here on the dialogue. Purple Rain. Do we have the video? Um, Purple Rain was a
Unmute. You need to unmute.
and the title song was Purple Rain itself, and I'm missing many of them. Uh, but Prince was just an awesome musician, an awesome artist. And when he didn't think he was getting the proper attention for his guitar playing, what does he do? He shows up at the Music Hall of Fame show and puts on a solo piece with all of the great ones like from the rock era, and he showed them just how strong his artistry is. Tonight, the dialogue salutes Prince. Prince, you moved on to the next dimension. You moved on, but we'll always appreciate your music here in Dozie land. All right, we're back to Dr. Kynes, and you know what? Since I'm having such a hard time pronouncing her name, and I'm not doing justice, they want a name like Dozelle. They don't want to ever offend anybody by not pronouncing their names correctly. Dr. Ma'at Kynes, is that right? Ma'at?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. No worries. People know me as Ma'at because I've been
Ma'at. Thank you, Doc. My bad, Dr. Ma'at Kynes. I can say that. I just need to know. Thank you.
That's okay. I recently added Kynes, so it's Ma'at Kynes, but most people know me as Dr. Imani Ma'at. But that's okay. We're good. Not an issue.
Dr. Imani, bless you. Bless you. Listen, Doc, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the returning citizens community. I got to see some of the exercises in your book, and man, they were so impressive. I got to see some of the questions that people would, that you were asking them to write and so forth, and ask of people that will be contributing into that, pouring into their lives. Share with us a little bit about what you're doing with that community, please.
I'd be happy to. I do want to acknowledge the passing of Robert Tebow. My condolences to him and his family. And also want to, I was thinking as you were showing Prince, everybody loved Prince, including me. Prince was so bad that Michael Jackson named his son after Prince. Think about that. Think about that. It doesn't get any better than that. I think his first son is named Prince.
Yeah.
There must be something to that. So, and may Michael rest in peace also, in addition to two great stars and artists. So I left the Centers for Disease Control back in 2010. And I mentioned the teen theater program, and the teen theater program was a full-time gig that I was only able to do on the weekends. And I felt like I was getting burned out between CDC, Morehouse School of Medicine, and working with the youth on the weekends. I decided to created a workshop called Healthy Haiku. Haiku is an ancient Japanese form of poetry that tells a big story, which is 17 syllables. And I learned haiku in elementary school, and it's come back to me a couple times in my life. And I said, if I ever get the chance to use it. So I created this whole workshop teaching young people about health and wellness using poetry and drama and role play, still having fun, but not taking up the type of time that was required to run a teen theater program. So I worked with youth primarily, and the program was evaluated by a postdoc program that I took or went through that was hosted by Morehouse School of Medicine, Tuskegee, and University of Alabama at Birmingham. And in that program, my program was deemed an award-winning program. I mean, I was competing with all the scientists and other folks that I was working with, but they loved this program so much so by a jury of my peers, you know, they rated mine as one of the most valuable programs that came through that postdoc program. So I'm very, very proud of that. So I worked with youth, and I had an opportunity to work with a women's organization here in Atlanta, the Center for Black Women's Wellness. And I realized that, okay, say take nutrition, for example. I'm teaching young people what to eat, what's good for them, what's healthy, how it's going to help their bodies to develop and their minds to develop. But I'm not talking to the mothers. So when I had the opportunity to work with the mothers, I decided to take the chance. And it was so much fun. And it made me realize, I said, you know, this program is as valuable for adults as it is for children. So some years later, I had the opportunity, I'd learned about a pilot program at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, which was an education program for the females. It was just a pilot. And I said, oh, I should go volunteer and teach a class or two for the women. And by the time I got through the initial interview with the people running the program, they said, you know, we pay people to come in and teach. Would you like to do that? And I'm like, sure, why not? I quit my job without a plan B. So so there I was going to the jail. And oh my God, the response from the women was just amazing. And we actually ended up expanding the program from just women to inmates as well. I don't like the term inmates. But so I expanded the Healthy Haiku program to include meditation, to include something called Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian system for resolving conflict. A lot of people know Ho'oponopono as 4 phrases. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. But it's so much deeper than that. But if you hear those phrases, people are reciting the Ho'oponopono. But it's really about forgiveness and love and getting past conflict. So I used the Ho'oponopono. We did vision boarding. We did a whole piece on forgiveness of self first, and then also forgiveness of people who may have done you wrong. You know, very, very, very important for the healing.
In fact, interject. That caught my eye because as the Toy and the Go Gig team can tell you, I'm concluding a series on the forgiveness piece in the Lord's in the model prayer, and I'm gonna probably borrow some of your exercises, Doc.
Please do. I'm going to be doing a whole training, and one of my reasons for doing the book is to have material and resources and things for people who are working with the incarcerated population and who, you know, just want to do something different, make it exciting, make it something that's reinforced. I started this project. This is the book, Educating the Incarcerated. Can you see it? Facilitating opportunities for growth and understanding. And when I tell you, I started this project years ago, and I would have inmates and some of the detention officers coming to me. It's like, hey, put this one in the book, Doc. This is a real good poem. I want this to be in the book. And so this was, you know, many. I started there in 2015, 16, right in there. And so it's been a long time in coming. And I should also say that after I served as a teacher for about maybe 4 months, the woman who hired me announced that she was going to run for office or something. So she was leaving her job. And I went to her superior officer at the time and asked her, like, what are you going to do? The program was called Options for Living and Learning. And I asked her, I said, what are you going to do with the options program? This is such a good program. She says, well, are you interested? Let's start the paperwork. And I'm like, wait, I don't remember answering, but I love the program so much. And it gave me an opportunity to not just touch the inmates with information, but to be sitting in, as the manager of the education, not just that, but some of the other education programs, gave me the opportunity to bring people in who were also dedicated to sharing life lessons, plans about so many different things. We had a sister there who taught about history, and she, of course, brought in history of characters and people that they knew, like Prince, like Michael Jackson. She made it fun, so it wasn't just American history, the standard American history. It was people that they could relate to, and then she would tie in information that would help them to take the lessons and grow and get to the next stage.
Okay. Doc, we're down to about a minute and a half, and I hate to even have to say that. Can you tell us about some of your future projects and publications? We're going to talk a little bit more about. We're going to the producer's going to put your books and links on at the end of the show. But any imminent future projects that you've got going, please share them with us now, please.
Let's see. I have a number of books that are not just for. My goal is to do the training and to go around and teach sheriff's offices as well as parents and teachers about what I call the healthy haiku method, so that they can go out and incorporate some of what, like you said, you want to borrow some, so that they can incorporate some into what they're doing. We also have a wellness suite that includes a red light bed and something called the synchronicity wave system that puts photon light energy into the room and helps the body to heal from the inside out. So a lot of what we do, when I say we, it's myself and my husband, Bernard. We also have a podcast, as I know the wonderful Toya, your daughter, has probably mentioned to you. But we're available to share with people all of the things that we have learned about natural health and wellness, to help people to, if they're interested in opportunities for helping their body to heal naturally or to get reinforced naturally. So those are some of the things that we have going on right now.
Dr. Kynes, I cannot enough for taking time out of your busy and very intentional schedule, the great things that you're doing for humanity. The Gandhis, Dr. Kings, the Mother Teresa's, we knew here, and we're going to feature her. The Eartha Whites. I'm just big into humanitarians, and I think you are a humanitarian of a great level, and we want to do our part to make sure that everybody knows what you're doing, and they'll join in and assist you, support you, and seek assistance from you as needed. And thank you again for just blessing me on the dialogue.
Appreciate it. And if any of your guests are interested in being on our Health and Wellness podcast to talk about the wonderful things they're doing, that's an opportunity too. They can call, or calling is probably the best to use that number. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kynes, and thanks for being a part of the Go Giga team here.
Oh, my pleasure. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
We're definitely going to shout out your books at the end. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. We have right amongst us great individuals doing great work for the sake of all of humanity, and we certainly even though I butchered her name, we're so grateful for Dr. Kynes, Dr. Imani Kynes. I want to stick there and make sure I don't mess that part up. And thank you so much for gracing the dialogue. And she'll be back. She'll be back. And at the end, we want to please make sure we get her podcast information out. So you'll sign on and share. And you just can't listen to her. You got to send her questions and let her know that you're watching, and let her know. Bring questions to her, just like you've seen us try to do tonight, and expand the horizons of her vast and great services. Thank you again, Dr. Imani Kynes, for coming our way tonight. Thank you, Go Geeker, for introducing us to such a great servant. Listen, it is a baseball season, basketball playoffs, and I've had this chance to spend with my brother. Used to hear me when the program first started. We say, my other brother, because Kim and I were doing the show together more often, and we say our other brother's going to come on sometime and talk about baseball. Well, we have discussed some baseball since we've been together over the last week or so, and he has been kind to inform me and pointed me to the direction to see for myself. The man, them Braves that used to be my favorite team, them boys, they're on it. They're like 19-9, but guess who else is 19-9? The Dodgers out in the Western Division. They're 19-9. So you got some great stars. And Shohei Ohtani is I don't think she is blowing him away on the mound. I don't think he is blowing him away on the mound like he has been and like he is known to do. But he's putting that ball out the park, or he's getting that ball out the infield from home plate. So what I'm trying to say is that brother got a great stick. And we ought to respect him, okay? All right. And our Marlins are not too far behind the Braves, though. But if the Braves are off to just such a blistering start that they've got their attention here in the Eastern. I know it's not division. I'm not doing basketball, but out here in the East, they're really doing their things right now. So we want to follow them and follow the work they're doing. So there's already been one hit to drop in Major League Baseball. The manager of the Boston Red Sox was dropped. And one of the things my brother said to me the other day, he said, "Man, how do you wake up one morning and you're called to go to the show from managing a AAA team?" Well, that's what the Boston Red Sox did. They called up their AAA manager and parts of his coaching staff to come up with him to Boston to manage that squad. And we'll see if it gets any better. We always looking at them in that Yankee. Those in the Yankees always going at each other. And Yankee fans have been in delight at the dismal start for the Boston Red Sox. So that's me doing my part, my public service for Major League Baseball. In basketball, the playoffs are ongoing. The playoffs are going on. Let me just give you updates on the playoffs. The Magic and the Pistons are playing right now, and the Magic is up 2-1 on the Pistons, and they're playing in Orlando tonight. Man, that Magic team is physical. They're tough. Yeah, they struggled to get into the playoffs from the play-in tournament, but now that they're there, they're taking on the number one seeded Pistons, and they're up 2-1, and they're showing no back down. They're showing a toughness, and they could be trouble if they get past the Pistons. In that second round, somebody better be prepared to play. Speaking of the second round, well, Orlando, the OKC Thunder is well on its way. They are 3-0. They won basically 3 non-contested games against the Phoenix Suns. And I don't say that to slight the Suns, but Suns, y'all have just run into a buzzsaw. Being the A-seeded team puts you in a tough position because that is a tough team. They're good on both sides of the ball. We've heard them discussing whether or not how good they would be without Jalen Williams being out. He re-aggravated a hamstring injury that has kind of sidelined him quite a bit during the season. The first part of the season, he re-injured it the other week. That team is good enough. You know why? Because they are deep enough. And here's the bad part. All those guys on their first contracts, and then they also have a great number of draft picks in upcoming draft years. That team is playing well, and they're playing There have been some teams that have missed their championship windows. The 85 Bears should have won probably 2 or 3 during that season. There have been other teams. This Oklahoma team has been watching them because they are on a mission. Oklahoma leads Phoenix Suns 3-0 and can wrap that up. I think tonight they are playing the T-Wolves and the Nuggets. There was a lot of chattering back and forth between them two. And Troy McDaniels from the T-Wolves did a lot of that talking. And to make matters worse, as they were up in the closing, literally the closing seconds of the game on Saturday night, he inbounded the ball and went the length of the court and dunked the ball in the outgoing seconds. You don't do that. You don't do that. And he did that because he is beefing with members of the members of the Denver Nuggets. Tonight we're going to see if the Nuggets are out for revenge. That act caused a fight. The Joker ran the length of the court and grabbed him. And we understand nobody was ejected. Well, they were ejected with 1.4 seconds left. But we understand that no one has been suspended. There were numerous fines because players left the bench. Kudos to the NBA for using good judgment and not kicking people out of a championship series. Also, so that the Nuggets, the T-Wolves up 3-1. Oh, so they lost Dino DiVincenzo. Oh man, a big loss for my beloved Timberwolves. He went down with an ACL injury in the first minute, I think it was, of that game, and then in the third quarter, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, has a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise. It was uglier than thankfully the result. So he's out multiple weeks and could be out the length of these playoffs in this year. So we'll see what they can hold together. I don't know the young brother's name, but he came in and substituted and scored 43 points, dropped 43 points on Denver. We're going to see if Rudy Gobert and team can continue to hold down the Joker and Gordon and Murray, if that's going to continue to work, or if the Nuggets are going to rise up tonight and see if they can bring some closure to that 3-1 lead that the T-Wolves has. I'm sure they're not going to let the T-Wolves knock them out tonight, but we'll see. Also, the Knicks and Hawks, another interesting series, is tied up 2-2. My boy Stephen A. Smith almost blew a gasket last week talking about them losing a close game to Atlanta in Atlanta. And so he exhorted them. He told them they had to win. Thankfully, they came through and they won. They tied that game up. Hopefully his health is better now because everybody was concerned about him. I think it was Big Perk said, man, I have never seen you actually sweat in studio. They had to give him a napkin. He was furious about the Knicks play, but they came back and they won Saturday night. So that they play again tomorrow night. That series is tied at 2-2. Keep an eye on that. People thought the Knicks could just blow past them and go and rest up for Boston and into the championship series. It don't work out like that. But remember, guys, this is just guys and ladies. It's only one game. It's a series is only one game at a time, and each game has its own personality. If a team has a poor performance, you forget it. You move on to the next game. You clean it up, meaning you make the difference. You see the mistakes that you made, but you come back and you're ready for the next one. All right. That series is 2-2. Another interesting series is the Spurs and the Blazers, this upstart Blazer team. Gallant efforts on their part. But man, Wembanyama is back. Wemby is back from a concussion. He set out 2 games, a concussion protocol. That brother is a handful. He is a handful. And they have some draft capital. They have some picks. Don't let that team get any bigger names or pick bigger in the upcoming weeks because, boy, at the end of the season for next year, they're going to be a handful for anybody. Remember, they have the only team that has beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that they're up on them 3-1 or 4-1 in the regular season. Some games with Shea Butter in the lineup, and I think one with him out. This team ain't backing down from nobody. Wemby came back and very quickly put the Blazers out of their misery. So that series is 3-1. We'll see how that ends up. Another close series you want to keep an eye on, the Raptors and the Cavs. The Cavs are being physically handled, and that's their nemesis. They don't handle physicality well. You want to watch that series. The Lakers and the Rockets, another must-see series. If LeBron puts them boys on his shoulder and wins that series, which they're leading 3-1. Now he was off in the game the other night, but if he brings them back and they win that series, hey man, he moves up that ladder of GOATs. Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but he sure gonna move up that close behind him. All right, and no matter how, who knows how far they're going. On the other hand, Ime Udoka and the administration of the Rockets got some settling to do, because of Kevin Durant getting injured in the warm-ups, and he is apparently out for the series, maybe for the season. We don't know, but we'll see. They're down 3-1 to the Lakers, and that series goes back to LA. The Celtics and the Sixers, we're not going to talk about Joel Embiid. We're not going to talk about the process. We're just going to say, let this play out and let Philadelphia make the right moves at the end of the season. That Celtic team is for real. And remember, that's a team with 3 of their stars from the championship now playing with the Portland Trailblazers. Listen, we get ready to go out, but I don't want to go out tonight without having some fun. And I came across this brother. While just searching Facebook Reels, and then I just got enamored with him. He's a TikTok creator who makes these vibe videos, and many of them in Walmart stores. He's going to places like the Eiffel Tower, SeaWorld, and campuses, and his mission is to spread joy. He's got like 1.4 followers across the globe. He calls himself Swisser 3X. Y'all check this out.
Be the same. 'Cause girl, you came and changed the way I want, the way I don't. I cannot explain the things I feel for you. But girl, you know it's true. Stay with me, fulfill my dreams, and I'll be all you need. Feels so right, girl. Such the bird. Would bring this happiness I'm being. I tried to keep my sanity. I waited patiently. Girl, you know it seems my life is so complete. I love this truth because of you. You're doing what you do. The perfect love. Search for my life.
You muted.
That's Swisser 3X. You can find him on any social media platform, particularly Facebook Reels or over on YouTube. And he does promote joy and unity. You'll be hearing more about him as the weeks pass by. He goes in these stores. Some people he brings into, some people are pre-planned, but he's going all over the world making these joy vibe videos. Check him out on your own. Listen, tonight as I see it, we're so grateful for Professor Kynes stopping by and sharing with us the work that she is doing to help to rehabilitate, to give second chance, to educate, to make us healthier and wholer in every way, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And we're so grateful. So I want you to just look at her book, the book titles, and the links that the Go Giga team is putting up. And please go by and investigate. And you're going to be seeing her, investigate her, check out her podcast, and be there with her. And we're just so glad that she came our way tonight. Another dialogue, another week. We're so glad to be here this time last week. This time last year, wasn't able to be here for many months. So glad to be back. So glad to be with the team. Bless you, Go Giga. Until this time next week, have a great week. I'm going to tell you what I tell the church. Got to have the best week you ever had of your life. We love you. We are Dialogue with Dozie.